Alright, apologies. I probably should just leave it alone, but yes, awfully day again. Yeah, this is individually tutoring one lunatic on Earth is probably just a complete waste of my time. Especially when they want tutoring on things like your foot has 5 toes. I mean, this is stuff that there's no way you can have any kind of sophisticated conversation about anything ever if you have to explain things like, yes, I've drawn the conclusion that my consciousness is not substantially different than any of the other human consciousnesses. I mean, if we can't establish that as a premise and just move the fuck on, what's the fucking point? And so anyway, it grates on me in such a nauseating way to listen to this asshole, because he just keeps saying the same shit over and over, and I keep responding to the shit and explaining, look, asshole, I can't explain consciousness to non-conscious entities. Just can't do it. You can't make words that explain consciousness to something not conscious. So if you don't understand what it is to be conscious, I have no help for you. Idiot.
Your second statement, Gary, your second premise, as detailed in your most recent video, is experiences have qualitative aspect. Now, you say, oh, importantly, fact. Now, it is a fact, only in the sense that they're qualitative to individuals.
Yeah, again, only in the sense. So it somehow isn't a fact, okay? So when a car's turned on, it's only a fact to the car that the car is on. It's not a fact in the world, in the universe, on Earth. It's only a fact inside the car. Only the car knows it's on. The car being on is only a fact to the car. I mean, this conditional you keep applying, in my opinion, is just a contrivance. I can't make any sense whatsoever of the qualifier only to it. Alright? I'm saying it's when I'm feeling, it's a fact in the universe. I said it directly. You're saying it's not a fact in the universe, it's a fact only in my brain. Well, I'm saying, fuck you, that's idiotic. We have nowhere to go with this conversation. You don't understand how that's a non-starter? How that's a block for which there will be no way to fix? Okay, my consciousness is a fact. It's happening in the universe. It's not just happening in my brain. It isn't just some isolated thing in my brain that has no relevance anywhere else as anything else. It's not describable from any external point of view. It doesn't exist from any external point of view. Of course, it exists. It's happening.
It is a fact, as in your premise one, that these experiences do happen in the universe. As you
well, you can't accept that the contention if you're gonna qualify the second one. So again, why do you keep qualifying it?
You express they can be counted and they can be accounted for. A game of minimization can be played. The question is whether we ought to do so.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so if you count the one where it says it's a qualitative aspect, I use the word plus, minus, bad, good. So it establishes the creation of these things called bad and good. The words bad and good have connected to them implicitly. The words bad and good would mean nothing if there wasn't an implicit ought attached to them. Bad ought to be avoided, good ought to happen. These are parts of the word's definition. So it's inescapable. Once you've accepted the word good and bad in terms of the qualitative aspect of the experience, and once you've said the experiences are happening in the universe, the ought is written into the language itself. There's no way to evade the ought. The ought is the meaning of the word. I mean, really, would the word bad mean anything if it didn't have ought tied to it? Just think about it for a second. You can't fucking make that word mean anything if it doesn't have an ought tied to it.
And thus you invoke the intrinsic bad. More on this qualitative aspect. You do very little work to detail how they are qualitative beyond the personal.
Beyond the personal. Again, I have to somehow explain why it's not, when the car's running, it's not just the car that has an engine that's running, that the running is happening in the universe or something. I'm saying the bad is something, it's intrinsic to the sensation. The sensation's happening in the universe, therefore the bad is in the universe. Now, what's your argument going to be? Some silly thing like, well, the universe can't see it? Well, that's not my argument that the universe can see it. I'm not arguing the universe has a brain and can do logic like we can. I'm saying we can see it. We can understand it. We can know it exists.
You say they're meaningful facts. They honestly describe the universe. They're describable. They're attractive.
I'm saying if you can't, you're not giving me a counter argument that's rational. Why you're saying to me I shouldn't pay any attention to the word bad. Once bad happens in the universe, I should not pay attention to the bad that's in the universe. I'm saying by very definition, as soon as I've declared something bad, it's something you got to pay attention to. It's part of the definition of the fucking word, you lunatic.
Repulsive. It happens. You get very animated about all this.
Yeah, I get animated about all this because, see, I actually think these values are real things and that their bad really means something, and when bad happens, something bad's actually fucking goddamn happening, and you glib motherfuckers are why the world is broken. It's because you glib motherfuckers can't seem to understand that bad has a consequence. That bad is bad. Because you're fucking insane. And yet it irritates me that I have to share fucking oxygen and social power with lunatics who don't know we should do something about bad.
But nothing in these words indicate the qualitative nature to the universe.
To the universe. Now again, it has to be to something again. Why this insane qualifier of to something? So now you said the universe has to have a brain. And if the universe doesn't have a brain that can interpret the universe and give you opinions about the universe, that somehow without the universe's opinion, there's no fact. I'm saying it's a fact. When I say it's a fact, that's essentially saying, yes, it exists. The universe has acknowledged it, so to speak. Yeah, it's a problem. As soon as you say bad is in the universe, you've done your job, okay? You don't need any more to say there's a problem. Houston, there's a problem. You don't have to prove Houston, there's a problem anymore. You've already done that. Now the thing is, what's the solution?
They're only qualitative to the universe insofar as an individual assesses and decides that I personally don't like that.
I personally don't like that. So again, he's just saying it's not about logic. It's not about adding up facts. So again, he completely evaded. I mean, I did show this. All right, so let's just acknowledge the evasion he's playing here. Experiences have qualitative aspect. I connected the word qualitative to the words good, bad, repulsive, attractive, positive, and negative. Okay, it's right the fuck goddamn there. Alright, so there's no delusion here. I'm establishing that is what's happening. Okay, when a sentient being feels, I'm saying from my personal experience being sentient, I'm saying sentience is god-awful, profoundly significant. These are the arguments I've made. I can't, I cannot, there's no way to, in words, explain to something that's non-sentient, that's never tasted sentience, what sentience is. You just can't do it. There's just some things you just can't explain in words. You have to taste it. You have to. It's like a taste. You can't explain a taste to something that's never tasted. You idiot. And again, why should I even have to do that to you? So you're just being profoundly dishonest to tell me that you have learned nothing from your consciousness about the nature of positive and negative sensation. I mean, you're just a fucking liar if you're saying you're not aware of why sensations have that quality. The fact that they have that quality. You're a liar.
And this is a bad state of the universe, and this is a good state of the universe. You see?
Yeah, exactly. Good and bad. We've established the creation of those things through the creation of sensations. That's right. Suffering be bad.
Things about this qualitative experience that I feel them, I experience it. It's visceral. None of this speaks to the value to the universe.
Again, to the universe. Again, I've never even implied that this has to be important to some brain in the universe besides our own. This is a logical deduction. If the universe had a brain, I would have every expectation that the universe would say, hey, that's consciousness stuff is important. I've tasted it. Ooh, that is really gnarly shit. It's creating good and bad. I guess I better do something about that. If it had a fucking brain.
This qualitatively has any bearing on justifies the qualitative view upon the universe.
Again, upon the universe. Again, this is just so stupid. We're talking about logic. You're saying the logic doesn't exist because the universe doesn't have a brain. So if the universe doesn't have a brain, logic doesn't exist. Because we can't do logic. No, only the universe could do logic. Only the universal brain could figure out 2 plus 2. We have no business doing mathematics. Okay, we have no right to be doing it because we should have waited until the universe had a brain to do 2 plus 2. No, we can do logic. We don't need to ask the universe. Okay, we can just look in our own brain and say, hey, what's 2 plus 2? Oh, does bad mean I should do something about it? Yeah, there's ought written all over bad. You ought to fix it.
In fact, you know, when you say I feel this, when you say you're lying, you can see the truth of this from your own experience. You point to me as an individual and to your viewers as individuals to look in themselves to see and assess that there is this qualitative experience. Yes, and they use that personal I perspective.
No, it's not a personal I perspective. It's the fact that they say, yes, I agree, I'm conscious. Yes, I know what that really bad stuff feels like, and I know what the good stuff feels like. So, yes, I agree, consciousness is significant, and there's some kind of shit happening here. It's pretty gnarly crap. And, yeah, let's pay attention to that, and, yeah, that would make sense.
To see it, and that is my point. There is no external I beyond human consciousness.
Well, again, this isn't about an external I. No one's... Again, this is just your canard. I'm saying it's logic. We're capable of doing logic, so we can do more than one thing. Yeah, we can emotionally feel stuff, we can be hungry for potato chips, and we can do mathematics, and we can do logic. Yeah, we are multi-faceted in our talents, and we can multitask even. We could even eat or drink at the very same time we're thinking. We can do that, shit for brain.
That are able to. There is no God who can look down on the universe.
Well, again, why? I don't need a God for me to add 2 plus 2. Do I need God to add 2 plus 2? No, I don't need God. Amazing. No God required to add 2 plus 2. No God required to recognize I have acknowledged that my feelings are significant, that it's a real thing happening in the universe, my consciousness, and that my consciousness can create really bad shit and really good shit. And I'm doing the simple logic of saying, hey, the other humans have the same genetic code essentially. Okay, they're doing the same exact thing I'm doing. They're creating good sensations and bad sensations inside of their brain, and those sensations are just as important as my sensations. Gee, I did logic. Without a God. I didn't need God's help to do that. Duh.
And say, yes, this is intrinsically bad. In fact,
Yeah, my own experience tells me that. That's right. There's no way to make telephone pole up my ass into anything else but holy shit, that was the worst thing that ever happened to me. That pain was obnoxious and insanely horrible. It was torture. Okay? And the word torture has implicit in it, don't do that.
Your statement that and weight you place upon this qualitative experiences, inferring, as you do that we need to keep count, is all predicated upon you defining that there be an intrinsic bad.
Well, again, I don't have to define it. I'm saying it's a fact. If you don't agree with it, then we have nothing to talk about. It's a fundamental, axiomatic fact of existence as a consciousness that you will experience bad sensation. It's just a fucking goddamn fact. Now, if you can't agree that that's what consciousness do, they create good and bad sensations, and the good and the bad is a real thing, then there's no room for further discussion, you crazy, insane fucker.
And you fail to do this. You fail to do this properly, at least.
Yeah, properly how? Again, you want me to put into words the fact of conscious experience. Again, how would I, if I wasn't conscious, if I didn't know what a bad feeling was and a good feeling was, then yeah, this is all going to sound like, well, what are you talking about? You have a feeling. Oh, you do? Well, what the hell is that? Yeah. I'll just mock the guy forever saying, what are you talking about? Oh, you have a feeling. Yeah, sure you do. Oh, it's just neural crap. Blah, blah, blah. It's just little electricity. Blah, 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 blah. I just mock him because there's no way, unless you taste the fucking thing, that you can know what the fuck it is. And I'm just saying, because I'm conscious, I'm enlightened by that fact, to the fact that there is this thing called a bad, awful, horrid sensation and a not horrid sensation.
Whenever I use the word good, it exists insofar as I understand you, in that it's, as you put it, it's intrinsically good to remove a bad, and therefore the only things that really exist are intrinsic bads. But if that's the definition of intrinsic good, then there also exists intrinsic good as well, based upon the fact that there is intrinsic bad.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're going to say that you're indirectly creating it's real positive to remove a negative, well, it's obviously not real positive, right? Because you didn't make any forward movement. So you know, if you put that on a graph, on a typical graph, and you go backwards 35 steps and then you go forward 20 steps, that you're still not going to be in positive territory. So, you don't have to be much of a mathematician to be able to realize that if you have a negative in front of your product, that you're still not winning, fuckhead.
By your account. But the whole question is about, that the biggest theme we have is about what is intrinsically good and intrinsically bad, or if there is such a thing.
Well, again, you're not going to accept the premises. You're not going to refute them with some sort of rational argument. You're not going to explain to me how my consciousness is a fraud. You're just going to keep saying my consciousness isn't part of the universe. So, again, I have no argument here. Okay, you're not going to demonstrate to me how I've made some logical mistake in experiencing consciousness, having the sensations right in my goddamn face, and then logically doing the simple deduction that the other humans are having similar experiences, creating these similar important sensations, and then doing the step further of saying, well, the other sentient mammals are likewise doing something fundamentally similar. Wow, that logic, I don't think you're going to break any of that. I think that's about as rock solid a logical chain as you can get, motherfucker.
And at the base of your philosophy now, we find you just define it such, and there's no rationale behind that definition.
Well, again, the rationale is there's absolutely no counter evidence to the conclusion. Absolutely not one shred of logical, meaningful, substantial evidence indicating that the other humans aren't essentially similar to myself. No evidence whatsoever that you're all reptilians that don't feel. Okay, that don't know what conscious is, or that you've all been body snatched and you're all part of some computer Borg or something. All of those theories are just whacked, made up fantasies. They have absolutely no realistic credibility. So exactly why should I conclude that my conscious sensations, although, you know, mine, are no different than the conscious sensations of all the other 7 billion human beings walking around trying to find comfort? Oh, that's right, there is absolutely no logical reason for me not to give those consciousnesses the same significance as my own. Absolutely no rational, logical reason not to draw that conclusion.
Except that you believe it so. It is fallacious. It is a fallacy to think that you can reason and reach a conclusion that something is bad by beginning with defining what is bad.
It's a fallacy to reason what is bad by defining what is bad. Well, again, I cannot do anything about you understanding that negative sensations are bad. Okay, so again, you're going back. What you say you concede, you don't concede. So there's no point in having this conversation. If you're not going to concede, I'm conscious that I'm having conscious experiences that are intrinsically something, good or bad, and that other sentient beings are likewise having similar experiences, then again, we have no foundation for conversation. We do not live in the same universe. We do not live in the same mechanical structural world. There's absolutely no reason for us to interact whatsoever because we are dimensionally not connected in any way. Up is not up, down is not down, left is not left, right is not right, forward is not forward, back is not back. There's just no common reference.
The question at issue, the conclusion of what is bad and whether
No, that's not a conclusion, okay? I get what is bad is not the fucking argument, okay? Again, we've already established what is bad, okay? The sensation is intrinsically bad. So again, why, if you either concede it or don't concede it, but quit playing this vacillating game where whenever you feel like it, you just say, no, we haven't even established what's bad yet.
Bad exists and what we ought to do is the very question at issue.
No, it's not. You're going to keep evading the very question at issue because you're going to keep saying it only matters to themselves. Or you're going to say it's not part of the universe. Every time somebody brings up a bad, you'll just say, no, that one doesn't count. It's not part of the universe. The universe doesn't have a brain. The universe didn't say it exists, so therefore it doesn't exist. You're going to keep playing these games. There's just no fucking point. No, there's no fucking point. I just ought to leave it there. There's no fucking point. I mean, I made it as clear as I could make it. You want to have further conversation, okay? See, this is these premises. If they're not going to be accepted, you can't really even talk about this. And this is the playing field, right? So as I was saying, the biggest game we're playing is all sentient life. The welfare of all sentient life on Earth is the biggest game. That game needs to be running a profit. Then there's the narrower game of human interference in this game of sentient life on Earth. And we could have a discussion about how humans are doing. And then we can have a discussion about how modern humans are doing. And then we can have a discussion about how individual humans are doing in their interaction and whether they're creating more of this positive stuff or more of this negative stuff. in the gameplay. But the gameplay is all this. This is the biggest game. All sentient life on Earth. And if this isn't running a profit, you've lost all the other games. All the other games don't matter if you're losing this game. Dumb fucks. Alright, so I'll just be doing the morning's comment and be done with this shit. This is just too retarded. Alright, liar in the morning. That's all she is. There is no God who can look down on the universe and say, yes, this is intrinsically bad. But there is an inmendham who can do that. LOL. Right, I'm capable of doing logic. I'm capable of understanding that if you run over a cat deliberately on the street or something, that you're causing the cat harm. Yes, I'm capable of doing. I'm godlike in that way, that I can understand what harm is. Yeah. Likely, he was saying something. Lately, he was saying something about if he has a broken leg. So this is, you know, this is the compulsive liars. They can't even get these statements right, and they just say something about, you know, and then they lie about what you've said. It's no different to another man who has a broken leg, but here he is using Occam's broom or something, which Daniel Dennett criticized in his book. Well, Daniel Dennett's a cunt. Intuition pumps and other tools for thinking. Yeah, intuition pumps. The guy needs a brain pump. To sweep under the rug innumerable other things. Well, I'm not sweeping anything else under the rug. The argument's being made that in and of itself, it doesn't matter, and that's the argument I've made. I keep contextualizing every argument by saying, look, if there was no deterrent value, okay, to punishing somebody, then there'd be no reason to punish them. There'd be no reason to take a criminal who's guilty of a crime and punishing them and harming them if it will not create any positive action in the world, if it will not prevent any future crime. Then it would just be a sadistic act of waste. Because all you do is create one more victim, one more pile of suffering for absolutely no gain. That's the logic. And my logic on the broken leg example, of course, is conditional. A broken leg as the sensation in and of itself. The sensation of a broken leg is a broken leg is a broken leg. It just doesn't matter who's having the broken leg, in the sense that the broken leg feeling exists. And it is the feeling that is the enemy. It is the suffering that is the enemy. I've said it exactly like that. And you just lie, because you're a lying cunt. To sweep under the rug. The other man, despite the pain, may be worried who will pick up his child from school, and may try to call somebody to do that before he calls an ambulance. The man in the trenches during the war may be very happy because now he can go home, and so on. Yeah, again, these conditionals are not something I said doesn't exist. I'm saying that the experience in and of itself, it doesn't matter. If there is no conditional change in the world, if it's not going to make a difference in the overall comfort of the human race, then it doesn't matter who's experiencing the pain. That's the argument. And I've always made it a conditional argument, and I've always said that. But because you're a liar, you can't get that right, because you're a compulsive motherfucking skanky cunt liar. There is no thing called breaking a leg independent of the person to whom it's happening. Well, I think there are circumstances where we certainly could have two people who have very similar circumstances where there is going to be no consequential difference, no lifestyles will be dramatically differently changed, and the balance of happiness and comfort in the world will not be changed no matter who we give the broken leg to, and that would illustrate my point. So again, you're just a liar. Likewise, there is no thing called pure suffering in the universe. Well, I'm not even going to indulge in having a conversation. May you get goddamn elephantitis, and may you purely and colossally suffer, you motherfucking sadistic cunt bitch. Alright, if you don't understand there's nothing called pure suffering, then go ahead and get some, you motherfucker. I can't wait till you got goddamn fucking cancer, and I can't wait till you puke your guts out and die doing it. Fuck you, you crazy bitch. Lying bitch.